Good morning, John Drury. It's great to have you here this morning to do a Know My Life production. I'm so looking forward to hearing you share your story today.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you. It's good to be here.
Fantastic. Let's start right back at the beginning. John, tell me where you were born and what it was like in your family as a kid.
I was born in Wahroonga in the sanitarium, and I was the first of 5 children. We're spaced out though. My youngest sister is 12 years younger than me, so I left home when she was 6. So
your mum must have been very busy.
She was a very busy lady, and busy in church life and busy with family. Gave herself fully to us, and she was amazing. She was the emotional connector in the family. My dad was working hard for church and for God, and I enjoyed playing a bit of cricket with him in the yard and that sort of thing, but he was always very busy out there with other people.
Yeah.
But family was good. Grew up in the country. We moved to Ballina, Coffs Harbour, Mayfield in Newcastle, then down to Liverpool, sort of in the years of me growing up.
Was that moving through different church environments with Dad?
With Dad. So every 4 or 5 years they moved the ministers on, which was okay for family and for church. I don't think a minister wants to be in a church much longer than that, or didn't then. But it wasn't great I'd make friends and then have to move on. So I don't have lifelong friends. I don't have friends from childhood because we kept moving. And that's something I miss. I would do it differently. I made sure with my kids that they had opportunity to be in one place for a long time.
There's lessons in that though too. That builds a strength and a resilience in a person, would you say?
Absolutely. Yes, strengths. I became very self-reliant. That's a strength and a weakness for me.
That's true too. That's true.
Because learning to ask for help and learning to reach out to others, I tended to just be able to look after myself, which is, I guess, a self-protect kind of strategy. But did well as well. I was always a high achiever at school and sport. I was very much anything with a bat and ball I was good at.
So cricket?
Cricket, tennis, golf, table tennis, hockey.
Yeah.
Played a lot. Tried football, wasn't so good at that, but was okay at soccer. Enjoyed playing sport and watching sport. Still play cricket today. I just signed up. Our first game's just coming up this weekend.
Wow.
So for this season. So very much into sport and did well at school, in country schools. We used to come first in my class all the time. And got to Newcastle Boys High and dropped down to maybe 5th or 6th in the class, but first in a few subjects. So it was always a fairly high achiever and wanted to do well and had a drive to do well inside me, which my parents were both teachers before they were in church life. I think that helped.
Yeah. And relationship with the siblings? You still close to your siblings today?
Yeah, I've got 4 sisters. So I'm the eldest.
So when you're moving around like that, they become your friends, don't they?
Yes, particularly. Yeah, I'm close to them all in various ways. They live in different parts of Sydney and Canberra now. Have their own families, but we've had seasons where we've been close and not so close. And my father died last year, and I was very proud of my family in that period of time. The way we pulled together and supported Dad, and then looking after Mum now in her latter years.
Where's Mum? She's
in a dementia-specific aged care facility, not far away, about 30 minutes from where I live, and 3 of us are in Sydney. We help connect her, but she needs that kind of care, and none of us could give her that in our home. And she's peaceful and in herself, but aging and very frail, and probably won't be with us much longer.
Tough season of life to go through with your parents when that happens.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And so school, you said high achiever. University, what did you do after school?
Well, I went to uni and I was heading for arts, heading for law. So I did a Bachelor of Arts with the plan to do arts law. But in the midst of all of that, my faith in God came alive. I grew up in church, not really, my church didn't impress me much. It was for older people. But came to a real personal encounter with God when I was about 17 that really started to shape my life and thinking and my worldview. I wanted to understand things. I didn't want to just believe or accept things. So I've questioned everything and gone through all of that and had to find my own way, which was good. It's a good thing to do.
What brought you to that point at 17 years of age?
Other young, the church we're in, there was other university students, young people who had a live faith, and they were fun people. That influenced me to say, okay, this is not just for older people. This is not just my parents. They had found a reality in Christ that I hadn't known. I believed in God, but it was kind of out there,
Sure.
not personal. And I came to a real personal encounter with God at a weekend. We were away at a youth camp type thing.
It's how often it happens for teenagers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Surrounded by friends, doing something fun, realising I don't have to sacrifice everything to have a relationship with Christ.
Yeah, and that really impacted me, and I began to get a sense that maybe I should become a minister. It's the last thing I wanted to be growing up, because my dad was a minister. But I had a sense of call, or a sense of that God wanted me to do something with my life to help people. Didn't know how that would play out. But that started to interfere with my university direction. And also I was involved in music. We started a band in our church and got busy. Suddenly, within a few months, we were singing every weekend all over Sydney and then all over Australia.
Singing in church?
Churches, coffee shops were big in the 1970s. And so we were singing in schools, through all kinds of opportunities. Youth for Christ was a big meeting, like 600,000 people.
So always singing Christian music back then? Yep.
Yeah, that wasn't the only influence on me.
What's your instrument is it guitar?
Yeah, I had a guitar. I had a 12-string Ovation guitar, which was a very good instrument. I play a bit of keyboard and sing, not so much a lead singer, but sing harmony.
Beautiful.
And we did that we did a couple of years full time. So we got so busy.
As a musician?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we didn't make a living out of it, but we survived. But we impacted lots of people. So I played in all the big halls around Australia that were there in the 70s, including the Opera House and the Dallas Brooks and all the different places, Hordern Pavilion.
Wow. I had no idea.
Full houses.
What a wonderful part of your life. And you still play today?
For my own enjoyment. Probably not as much as I could or should, because it really relaxes me and brings both sides of my brain into equilibrium rather than just being a left brain thinking kind of person.
Music is a beautiful thing. So going back, you said you had some university happening, this calling on your life to become a minister.
Yeah.
Which way did you go?
Well, we went into music for a couple of years, and at the end of that, we had done so much work in schools, and we'd go in and do an assembly, and we'd have all these kids wanting to know more. It was impacting them in a big way. So with the church we're in at Liverpool, I went on as a youth minister, youth pastor, whatever, youth worker, helping connect the kids that we'd touch in schools to church. And I did that for a couple of years. Then my dad was a minister there. Then he moved on to another church in Newtown. And I decided I probably should get some training. So I went to theological college.
Where did you go?
To United Theological College. It was for the Uniting Church in Enfield. And so I did a diploma in theology there, linked to Sydney Uni, Bachelor of Divinity. Did that for 3 years, which was very challenging because my faith was very alive, and that college wasn't necessarily.
Dear.
So a very intellectual experience.
Sure.
But challenged me. Looking back, it was a good experience. It was very hard.
Well, you said you wanted to do the research and understand faith, so certainly you would have had the opportunity to do that there.
I did. Going through all sorts of German theologians and working out how they tried to limit God to be fit in our mind, which is not possible, because if God can fit in my mind and my understanding, then he's not really God, is he?
He's not. He's John Drury.
Yeah, which is...
if that's how you're going to define him.
Yeah, God's bigger.
He is.
Yeah, but I survived that, and then was planning, at the end of that I was exhausted, so I took a year I got married during college to a lovely lady, and we at the end of college I spent a year. Well, we travelled for a year, so we'd saved up and probably should have bought a house if you did the right thing. But we spent
never
the
say
deposit.
should have. Never say should have.
Well, I think we did the best thing. We spent what would have been a good house deposit on a year's travel.
Where did you go?
Went through the United States and Canada, western coast of Canada, visiting, connecting with friends and people we had connection with for 3 months, and then to London. And based out of London, we travelled all over Europe and to Israel and Morocco.
Oh, wow.
About 35 countries in.
How did that shape the future, seeing the world and all it had to offer? Did you feel like that really changed your perspective on things?
I realised the world's a whole lot bigger. Build confidence, I guess, in the sense that who I am and what I stand for, I can go into any part of the world and be who I am and not be intimidated or daunted. We bought a little van in London and decked it out as a camping van and drove it all the way to Istanbul.
Wow.
So
What
back
an
in
adventure.
1980s, so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A bit scary at times because it was a right-hand drive in Europe, which we were on the wrong side of the road. But that all worked. We got back and we sold it for the same price we bought it for in London.
That's always a good thing. Didn't lose any money.
No, it was good. So a great adventure, broadened horizons, made me, I guess, feel that I could do anything.
That's wonderful. And as newlyweds as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So married someone from the same sort of faith as yourself?
Yes, yeah, Marianne, lovely girl, and she loved to travel, so we did that, and then enjoyed that experience very much together. Then working out what to do next.
Yeah. So what did you end up doing next?
Well, I was due to, I was accepted to become a Uniting Church minister, but the structures of the church and my faith, having more Pentecostal experience, a more experiential faith than an intellectual faith. Marion and I were kind of dreading the Uniting Church, probably wrongly, but we were. So we long story, make it short, we ended up going into a Pentecostal church, connecting with Frank Houston from the Christian Life Centre in Sydney,
Yep.
who we had a relationship with as well. And he invited us to take on a new church that had just started in Blaxland, in the Old Blue Mountains. So we took up that opportunity, and with about 15 people that had gathered together, and some of them didn't like us, so it dropped down to about 5 people.
Oh my goodness. Well done, John.
Yeah, I started out really well. But within a year we had 200.
Oh, wonderful.
And then 400 a year
Wow.
later, and then some challenging times, sifting and sorting and me learning how to lead. Spent 24 years doing that. and
Wow.
Built it up to 1,000 people.
What was that church? What's it called, that church?
It's now called Blue Mountain City Church.
Still there today?
Still there today.
Wow.
We bought property up in Mount Riverview. So in a smaller community, a very significant kind of work that was affecting the whole of the Blue Mountains. And lots of great things happened locally, in schools. The average age of the church was 24.
Oh my goodness.
So we had, the biggest age group was 15. So we were working
You're a
through the
young
high
church.
schools. So 180 kids in 15, 16 years old. And we pitched the whole church to 20s, music, everything else. So older people had to be fairly with it to enjoy it. So
Very modern,
it was
contemporary. Good.
Yeah.
And so 24 years, and in that time you had your own family, I imagine?
3 daughters, 3 gorgeous daughters, and they grew up in church was
Same as
kind of
you
our
did
family.
in
Yeah,
church.
they did. But
Except you didn't move around.
No, we stayed put. They built friendships and relationships. We went to the same school, infants, primary, high school in the local community here, and built lifelong friends. So that was good. I gave them that.
Mission accomplished.
Yes. Yes, and the church grew, not always without pain, And being a minister and pastor, giving myself continuously to people, I enjoyed that. I got a lot of satisfaction out of that, but I didn't look after myself very well. And over the years, it kind of gradually wore me down as to who I am, and kind of sort of lost myself in the midst of that a bit, which was not obvious at the time. I work with business people now, and I watch them being so busy and so focused and so up early and going for it night and day, and they don't realise the effect it's having on their emotions, on their psyche, on their life and their family. I was like that, very much like that, and got to the point where I was very good at functioning as a minister, very good for others, very good when I was with others and running things, but if on my day off, I couldn't relax.
Yeah.
Couldn't wind down, didn't know what to do. My relationship with my wife started to suffer, probably mostly because of me. She wanted some of me, and I was giving myself.
There wasn't anything left.
No, and I'd want to relax, and she'd want me to be present in the family, which is fair. And I had nothing left, and that became the pattern, unfortunately. And I started to struggle with that, and there was contention in the marriage over that. Looking back, there's lots of things I would do very differently, but we ended up to a point where we were both kind of isolated and quite lonely in our marriage, and I was a bit vulnerable, and I have no excuses, but I ended up having an affair, which was not good for anybody. It was all very exciting in the moment, but was not good, and I would not recommend that for anyone.
No.
And I certainly wouldn't do it again. I would love to go back and do things differently, because a lot of pain that I caused myself and my family, my daughters, and a lot of people who believed in me and trusted me felt betrayed. So I had to resign from the ministry in disgrace, really.
Tough time.
Yeah, it's 9 years ago now, so the emotion of it is not as poignant as it has been. Took me about 2 years. I was totally shattered for about 2 years. I separated from my wife and just tried to find myself. The lady that I had the affair with, we kind of kept going for a while. I wasn't sure who I wanted to be with or how to function. I was very alone. She was the only person who actually stood with me much. So it took me a while to work myself out, probably a couple of years surviving.
Would you say now, having been through all of that though, you have come out the other side and you have found who you are again? You've said that a few times. You know, I found somewhere that I could be who I was. I could go anywhere in the world and be who I was, and then I got lost.
Yes.
And so now that moment came and season, really, not a moment, but that season of your life passed through.
Yeah.
And what's been the outcome of that now, 9 years on?
Well, for
What's it taught you?
a couple of years I was surviving, I think, emotionally. I got some help. I saw a psychologist for a while. That was very helpful eventually. In processing my emotions, I think I was depressed. I was quite shattered emotionally. Working out what I wanted, where it went. Broke off the affair, the relationship for 6 months, and tried to sort myself out. Tried to reconnect with my daughters. Looked at whether the marriage was repairable. I couldn't find a way back. Then I didn't have much help and didn't know what to do. Wish I'd worked at it harder in some ways. But ended up making decisions to end the marriage, and then got opportunity with work to manage a business for a couple of years, and that went well. Started a personal growth journey. I wanted to do business consulting, but I actually did an executive coaching course and a diploma of business, and so I was running a business, did a diploma of business, and was training as a coach, and did some personal growth things as well.
So we teach what we most need to learn, right? So you went about developing some skills, but in the process learned a whole lot about yourself.
Absolutely. So it was a personal growth journey,
Yeah.
the whole lot of it.
Yeah.
Just rediscovering myself, my confidence, what I offer, what I'm excited about, what I'm not.
So tell me about some of those things. Who
I-
are you, John? If you had to describe yourself,
I
would you
guess
say?
I'm a person who loves to release or help release the potential in individuals, in teams, and in businesses. So I can see it. I'm good at spotting the diamond in the rough.
yeah.
I think a lot of people, it's easy to criticise the rough, the dirt, but to spot the diamond and then learn to bring it out, I think that's what I'm good at. And I certainly get excited about it.
I can see that.
And so whether that's an individual or a team or a business, so if someone's got a dream, to help them work out what that dream is, flesh it out, put a plan to it, describe it really clearly, and then put the plan in place so that they can go for it and bring others with them. That's what I'm doing now as a business mentor. And then not just to do that so that they have business success, financial success, but through my life journey, I want them to have a holistic success. To me, success is way more than money. Success is about having healthy relationships and being healthy, knowing who you are, being confident about what your own voice, your sense of your own values and what you're strong at, what you're not good at, and just being okay with that. Accepting yourself, enjoying who you are, being happy in your own skin, and getting to a place where your world is healthy, financially, emotionally, relationally, right across the board, and spiritually as well. So that's what I help people do.
That is a
now.
worthy life endeavour, isn't it?
Yes.
That is worthy.
It
Good
is.
work.
It's what I used to do in the church in a very specific way. Now I do it in a broader sense in the business world, and loving it.
That's
really,
great.
really loving it.
And along the way, what's life like now? What's the relationship with your daughters like now, John?
Okay, well, when you do things that are painful, there's consequences.
There is indeed.
So I have 3 daughters, and one of them relates to me well. She's kind of worked through her issues with me. She was probably the strongest in expressing her disappointment in me initially. Now we have a good relationship. The other 2 struggle still.
Yeah.
And I've got 5 grandchildren, and I get to see them occasionally.
The story's not over yet, though.
No, it's not. So there's some challenges there and lots of regret, and I've had to learn how to live with that and work through that and handle that. You can't let your past hold you back. So I push through all that, and I think it makes you stronger. It's made me stronger. Learning how to process that and get up every day and focus on helping others, and then learning how to replenish myself, look after my emotions so I'm not
So what are some
depleted.
of the things that you do now to replenish yourself?
Well, exercise is such a big, important thing for me. I find going to the gym, working with, I have half an hour in the gym with a personal trainer. On my own, I don't work hard enough. So, but within 10 minutes, I can't tell you what day it is. And it's just such a great stress release. If I played a lot of sport when up until I was about 20, and music took over, and then the church took over, and I got flabby physically, and I think physical health is connected to emotional health.
I agree.
And that's been, now I'm much healthier all round. I also read, not just for work, but for pleasure, novels, and I play sport. I got back into playing cricket and other sports as well, and a wider group of friends and relationships. So enjoying travel still. My wife, I've remarried.
Let's talk about your wife.
I've remarried to Jo. She's lovely. We have she's a business owner as well, so we have a really good relationship. That's easy. We're a good fit for one another, personality-wise. We get on really well, inspire and encourage each other. So that's a fulfilling part of life. She has a son who's my stepson, and it's been good growing. I've never raised a son, so I'm not his dad, but we have a good relationship, and that's growing. He's nearly 17, so I'm teaching him to drive at the moment. So
That's fun.
That's fun. He's a good lad. So life is good. We've structured our life I've written a book
Yes,
just recently.
we'll get to
this
that.
one.
That's fabulous.
But in the book, I talk about rhythm of life. And we've built a structure for our life that involves a day off at least every week, and I take a day off technology every week because I'm so addicted to it. You don't
So
realise.
that's why you're not answering my calls.
That's it. On a Sunday. Why are you calling me on a Sunday?
I'm just joking. I'm just stirring.
But we take at least a day off. I try and take 2 days off a week. And then every month we have a long weekend.
Mm.
And every quarter we have a week away, do something, go away, stop. And every Christmas we have 3 weeks off. So there's 6 weeks at least break in the year, maybe more if I go up to Japan.
What happens in that time when you're away? What happens? What goes through your head? What happens in that time?
In the break
yeah,
time?
Yeah. Why is that so important to you?
Relaxing, walking, enjoying a nice place, usually coastal, somewhere near the beach. Reflecting, thinking, catching up with each other. We do a little bit of business visioning, like creative kind of thinking, but not detailed business work. So all of that. We'll go to a movie. We'll do
So
things.
It
that
really
we
is
do.
about refreshing.
Eating out, enjoying the benefits and the rewards of working hard.
Great.
Yeah, in a nice place.
Beautiful. So tell us about the book.
Okay, well, it's a book. It's called Integrate, and the tagline is "Why Work-Life Balance is a Myth and What You Really Need to Create a Fulfilling Lifestyle." And to me, it's about learning how to integrate your work and your personal life so that they're all part of one thing. So this is your life, and work fits in here, rather than trying to have work and life balanced somehow. That to me it doesn't work. It's just not that way. When you're passionate, you're driven, you're going to be focused on your work at all kinds of odd hours of day and night, and that's good.
True.
That's not a problem. So learning how to do that, and the book takes you through a process of helping you think how you can do that, and what are the important parts of your life, mapping those and learning how to integrate them together. But it starts not just with a method, it starts back with knowing who you really are, what you really want out of your life, what your values are, what's important to you. And starting from that place of self-respect. If you respect yourself, then you can care for yourself and then manage your life and your world in such a way that it's integrated, and that way your capacity increases.
Yes.
So many people are so busy and they're pulled every way, every direction. A lot of my clients are that way, and they're juggling lots of things. Someone says they're not just juggling balls, they're juggling a sword and fire and all
Yes.
sorts of things. And if it falls down, it's bad. There's all kinds of chaos, and that's their life. And they sign up to be a business owner or into a corporate career, wanting some freedom and some enjoyment in life, and they haven't got that.
No.
So this book helps you know how to get that.
Right. And then the work that you do with people follows some of the same modelling, does it, that you talk about in the book?
Yeah, very
Great.
much so.
So, John, looking forward now,
Mm-hmm.
we talked before, you're on the other side of 60 now.
I am.
Yep.
Don't feel it.
You don't look it. You look very fit and healthy, and you've certainly got a lot of lessons under your belt. What does the next chapter of your life look like?
Well, when I turned 60, I felt God speak to me, and we'll find out if this is true or not. Plan and vision for 30 years. So I've got a vision for 90. I want to write a book every year, and on all different aspects of work and life. Next one's probably called Finishing Well, how to finish your life well. My dad did that so well, and it's inspired that. I want to work with business owners. I want to speak and encourage people to live their best life. And I believe it's possible to be successful and have a great life. Business success doesn't have to kill your life
Doesn't
in
come
your
at
relationship.
at the
You can
cost
do it
of your
together
life.
if you're
Yes.
willing to focus on it and be disciplined enough to make it work. So that's the message that I think I have to give. I work one-on-one, but I work with larger groups as well. That's what I want to do.
So that's work. What
that's
about the
work.
rest of your life? What's going to happen with the
Want
rest
to travel?
of your life? Yep, where are you
love
headed?
traveling. I've been to over 60 countries now in the world, so I want to go some places that I haven't been, and go back. I love Europe in particular. It's my favourite part of the world. So next trip is to Croatia, the Adriatic coast.
Lovely. Beautiful part of the world.
And then we'll go to France as often as we can. Want to go to South America, just some other places I haven't been in the world. So travel is good. Giving back, we're involved in a great church that's serving many nations in the world. So we give in terms of not just preaching the message of Jesus, but building hospitals, homes for widows in Burundi.
Hands and feet stuff.
All kinds of things across the world. So we want to get more involved in that. We support children. We want to support some communities, not just individuals. So business success can lead to that. By the time I'm 70, I'd like to choose to work, not have to work. So having a divorce doesn't do a lot for you financially.
No, that's true.
Being a minister doesn't help you make a lot of money. So I'm in a phase where I'm wanting to build that side of my life now and needing to. But that's all good. It's all looking good.
Well, it sounds like you have some great plans. So the book again is called Integrate. We'll have to get you to sign one for me, John.
Pleasure.
Yeah. And thank you very much for being here today. It's been wonderful chatting with you, hearing about your life so far and where you're headed next.
Thanks, Nick. Thank you.
Know My Life. History preserved with life stories captured on film for now and the future. Visit knowmylife.com.au.